there is this continuing agenda that is pushed by those that want to argue that Alabama players don't do well in the NFL draft. And it's just an absolute laughable statement. In fact, as I said, it came up on a national show yesterday by a caller who said Alabama hadn't had anybody do anything other than Julio Jones in the NFL. And then a couple other players that were brought up, Mark Jackson, Dante Hightower, players that still, so she counted with, let's say, in the last 3 or 4 years. Well, first of all, she doesn't know what she's talking about. And the people on the show weren't ready to counter her argument because they couldn't. I do think they brought up Landon Collins. And that was about it as far as trying to come up with anybody recently that had done anything. And Collins has been a really, really good player. But the truth of the matter is, yes, like every school, particularly one that has so many players drafted, you're going to have some misses. You know, Trent Richardson did not have the career that most of us thought he would have. And Dee Milner didn't have the career that many of us thought he would have, James. He just didn't. And there's other examples of guys who, for whatever reason, you know, Rolando McClain had incredible talent. He wasn't a guy that disappointed because of lack of ability. In fact, I would argue that he's still one of the more talented players that have come out of Alabama on the defensive side. Football didn't mean enough to him. The fact does remain that Julio Jones is one of the best wide receivers in the history of the National Football League. Mark Ingram has had a very underrated career with the Saints. But let's just focus on what someone brought up yesterday, that in the last 3 or 4 years, Alabama's had all these players drafted, 12 this year, which we'll wait to be seen how that plans out, 10 last year. But let's just start, James, in 2014, okay? Let's just start in the last 4 drafts prior to this year's draft. That's 14, 15, 16, and 17. 17 class being rookies. And let's take a look at how Alabama has fared. And I think you'll see that that Alabama's done very, very, very well. All right, let's start in 2014 when the Tide had another big number of draftees. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players drafted. C.J. Mosley, first round, 17th overall, is one of the best linebackers in the National Football League. Agreed, James? Thumbs up he gives me. Of course he is. He's been to the Pro Bowl. He's the leader of the Baltimore Ravens defense. He's unquestionably a top-tier player. All right? Getting ready to enter his 5th season in his prime. He's one of the best defensive players in the National Football League. Clinton Dix, selected first round, 21st overall, is one of the top safeties in the National Football League. He's a really, really, really good player. So those are 2 guys from that draft that were first-round picks that have made it, and they're going to play 10 years in the National Football League. Now, later-round draft picks, there's always going to be more opportunity for them not to make it. And Alabama had some there that, you know, Vinny Sunseri in the 5th round to the Saints, played a few years, but never quite took the next step, but played some. A.J. McCarron has yet to be a regular starter, but he may get that opportunity this year in Buffalo. He was a 5th-round pick. Ed Stinson has kicked around in the NFL as a 5th-round pick of the Cardinals. So a solid draft in 2014 for Alabama. 2015 was a year in which Alabama, by their standards, didn't have a large number of players drafted, just 7 of them. But listen to this. Amari Cooper, 4th overall pick to the Raiders, Pro Bowler in his first year. This past year, battling injuries, his 3rd in the league, was not his best year. But 15 and 16, he was tremendous. He's still a pillar that Raiders organization under John Gruden is going to build their offense on. Landon Collins, second-round pick, 33 overall, the Giants, one of the best physical safeties in the National Football League. Will absolutely knock your block off. TJ Yeldon, second-round pick, solid player for the Jags. Has not been an all-star caliber player, but has been solid. And then last year, backing up Leonard Fournette, had a really, really good year. Other players drafted. Jalston Fowler has made it in the league. Ari Kwanjo, Fowler, a fourth-round pick. Ari Kwanjo, still with the Redskins. Austin Shepard and Xavier Dixon, seventh-round picks. I don't think they're in the league anymore, but they were seventh-round picks. Another solid draft for Alabama. 2016, really a solid draft for guys from Alabama that are already making an impact. Hey, caller that says that Alabama doesn't do anything in recent drafts from the excuse me? Ryan Kelly, number 18 overall, the only first-round pick that year. He's the starting center for the Colts. Injuries have held him back, but they love him. If he's healthy, they think he's going to be an all-pro. Reggie Ragland, he's trying to kind of find his way. Drafted by Buffalo, now with the Chiefs. He has yet to really be a great player. But Derrick Henry, he's about to be the man in Tennessee. A'Shawn Robinson, second-round pick as well. He's a top player in Detroit. Jaron Reed, top player in Seattle, second-round pick. Kenyon Drake, third-round pick in Miami. Their starter now, about to have a chance to be a 1,000-yard rusher. Cyrus Jones, second round. Yes, he struggled a little bit in New England. Was hurt last year. But that's about as solid as it gets. You got 7 players drafted, James. All 7 of them are still in the league, and 5 of them are top-tier players. Then last year, 2017, rookie class, Marlon Humphrey, first round, Ravens, starter. Jonathan Allen, first round, Redskins, starter, got hurt late. O.J. Howard, first round, Buccaneers, starter. Reuben Foster, first round, 49ers, starter. The only issue there with him is his off-the-field issues. As a player, they love him. 49ers front office people think he's got a chance to be one of the most dominant linebackers in the National Football League. Cam Robinson, second round, Jacksonville Jags, starter at tackle, left tackle. Steele. Should have been a first rounder. They love him. In Jacksonville. Ryan Anderson, second round, Redskins. They love him. Dalvin Tomlinson, second round, defensive line, Giants. They love him. Tim Williams, still with the Ravens. Ardarius Stewart with the Jets. Eddie Jackson, fourth round, Chicago Bears. They love him. Eddie Jackson, another steal. The Bears think he'll be an all-pro. Got him in the fourth round after he hurt his knee his senior year at Alabama. Boy, yeah, a lot of bust out of that draft class. I wish I could have been on that show yesterday when that person called in saying Alabama hasn't had anybody do anything, that all these draft classes in the last few years. Just do a little research, please. 10 players drafted last year. Out of those 10, 7 of those guys are already top-tier players on their teams.
How many day one starters do we have out of them?
From last year?
Just from since 2014 in the list you mentioned.
Gosh, let me see, James, real quick. It's a good question. For day one starters, 2014, Mosley, Clinton Dix. That's 2. Day one starters, okay? 2015, Cooper, Collins, Yeldon initially. 3 first-day starters. 2016, Ryan Kelly, A'Shawn Robinson, 2 first-day starters. And then last year, first-day starters, Marlon Humphrey, Jonathan Allen, O.J. Howard, Reuben Foster, Cam Robinson, Dalvin Tomlinson, 6. Eddie Jackson, 7. 7 first-day starters from last year's draft. Yeah, you're right. Nobody from Alabama's done anything in the recent drafts unless you want to count last year when they had 7 first-day starters out of 10 total selections. Then right. I mean, maybe 7 out of 10, 70% is not a good percentage. I don't know. I thought it was, but maybe it's not.